because of circumstances, I've, like, come across a bunch of effing, like, horror movies.
Hmm.
So it's like, I've been just checking out some crap for the first time, like effing Pet Cemetery and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right, I think we were talking about this around Halloween, right? You were talking
um,
about getting into these horror movies?
yeah.
Or
Actually,
you were thinking of getting into them?
that's weirdly unrelated, but yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about it, and then suddenly you came across the opportunity to
Yeah.
actually watch these
To
movies.
actually finally, like, see what the heck Nightmare on Elm Street is about. Cause, like, I was aware of the premise. And, like, I had this more idea in my head of, like, what was going to be. Cause, like, in my mind, it's like, okay, he, like, goes and, he kills the kids in their dreams and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's like, alright, so it's gonna be like, this super cheesy, like, thing of, like, ironic deaths, where it's, like, based on, maybe, like, bad things they're doing in real life, or, whatever. And so far, based off the first two films, that is not quite it.
I was kind of under the impression that it's just Freddy Krueger's a psychopath and he just kills people.
Yeah, pretty much so far.
Yeah.
Like, there's that bit of, like, just cheese to it, where it's just, like, super crazy cartoon logic because it's a dream.
Yeah, so any goofy, stupid crap that happens is justified.
Yeah. Like, there's, like, it's pretty much like Frey's first actual on-screen appearance, where you finally get the reveal of what he looks like. And he's, like, walking towards, like, the girl, and he's, like, like, doing the thing where he's scraping his fingers along the wall. But it's, like, an alley outside, so his arms are just super stretched out so he can do it. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
There's that big bit where it's like, he's going after one of the victims, and, they're just, like, freak out there. I was like, no, you can't hurt me, it's just a dream, and you just get, like, a good close-up of Frey's mouth, and he's just grinning it up. And it's like, alright, yeah. Like, movie one, pretty good, I'm into it. There's a great bit where it's like, a kid's, like, getting attacked in his dreams, and he, like, seems to wake up, but he's, like, still dreaming. And so it's, like, a moment where it's, like, he looks like he's safe, and he's like, oh man, that was weird. And the bed just sucks him in from the bottom into, like, a hole in the mattress. And you see, like, a fountain of blood just spew out. And it's like, oh my god. So yeah, like, first movie I enjoyed a lot. Like, I think I love how it ends, because, like, the big thing is that, like, the main girl, like, has a scare where, she's, like, has, like, a dream where she's being attacked by Freddy, and she wakes up, and she looks under the sheets, and she has his hat. And she's like, oh, and, like, it was real. And, like, they quickly realize that it's like, oh, if you, like, grab something in the dream world and you wake up, then you can pull it back into reality somehow. So she quickly devises the plan of, like, okay, like, I'm gonna get one of my friends to watch me sleep, and then I'm going to try and, like, pull Freddy out of the dream world so it can kick his ass.
Wait, did JoJo use Nightmare on Elm Street's logic for Death 13?
Probably yes. I would not be
Well,
surprised. Like, it is a very similar premise.
yeah, because it's like, oh, I fell asleep with my stand, so my stand is in the dream with me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I feel like that does make way more sense, because it's like, obviously, like, the stuff you wear and stuff carries over into the dream, right? So why
Yeah.
would that not, like, count for, like, say, like, a weapon or something?
Actually, as old as JoJo is, when did Nightmare on Elm Street come out?
I actually don't know. Let me look that up, actually.
I'm not gonna claim that, like, Nightmare on Elm Street was like, oh yeah, JoJo, just take that idea.
1984.
That's Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
JoJo Adventure.
Part 3 specifically is what we're looking at, and that's...
Stardust Crusaders came out
1989.
Okay, so and Elm Street was 84, you said?
Yeah, so it'd be like, kind of like old enough for people to know what it is, but still like relevant.
It's within that time frame where oh god, Araki, that's his name?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, okay. Araki saw Nightmare on Elm Street and he's like, hey, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. Like, because JoJo has a lot of, like, references to different, like, classic horror films.
Yeah. And anyone who thinks, oh, JoJo fans gotta make it all about JoJo, it's a realistic possibility that a Japanese person saw an American movie and was like, oh, cool. It's way more likely than an American seeing a Japanese movie at the time.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I think he actually did mention he's a big fan of, like, American horror or something.
That makes sense, because a lot of creators out of Japan are like, oh yeah, I was inspired by this American movie for this thing. And it's like, okay.
So I made it great.
Yeah, and it happens a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I like how the first film ends, where it's like, she's like trying to get a friend to like watch her, and Freddy gets him. So she's like, okay, well, no one will believe me, and I've just kind of gotta do this on my own. So she just goes in, like, has like a timer set to like wake her up. So she can, like, just sync her watch to it to, like, grab Freddy at, like, the moment she, like, gets woken up by, like, her alarm clock. And she proceeds to, like, pull him out of the dream, like, get, like, out of the room while he's, like, chasing her, like, run down to the basement, like, hit him with some booby traps, and she just splashes him with gasoline and lights him on fire.
Nice.
And that's basically how they deal with him. And it's like, okay, that's pretty great. Like, how's the second movie go? So it's like, I go to the second movie, it kind of sucks. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, like, not that many dream sequences. Most of them are just about the main guy, being afraid that he's going to turn into Freddy, because that's the big plot.
Okay.
Because, like, for whatever reason, Frey's not content finding people in their dreams, so he's like, okay, I'm going to, like, use this kid's body to, like, come out in the real world, and that somehow gives him fire powers. So it's like, probably best out the movie is you get a really cool, like, creepy sequence where, like, Fred Krueger, like, physically, like, turns this kid into him. Like, you see, like, the claws of the glove, like, split out from, like, his fingernails and stuff, and there's, like, blood everywhere. And it's like, his arms, like, ripping apart, and you can see, like, the sweater texture, like, underneath. And it's like, easily best sequence in the movie, just super awesome practical effects. But yeah, he turns into Frey, so Frey's just running around. And, like, there's one good bit where, like, one of the kids at the party that Frey's attacking is, like, trying to negotiate with him. And he's like, alright, listen, man, we don't want to get hurt, like, what do you want? What do you want us to do? We'll do anything you ask. And Frey just looks at me, and he's like, you fucker, and just, like, kills him.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, they eventually just beat him with the power of love. Because the guy's girlfriend is like, no, you can fight it. I love you. Don't be afraid. And it just kind of works, and he, like, reverts.
Interesting.
And that's the second movie.
If you disregard the horrible horror monster, it can't work.
Yeah. It's like, to be fair, they did kind of establish that in the first film, where there's a moment where it's like, Frey's, like, going after the main girl, like, at the end of the film. Like, I think it's, like, after she tries to, like, pull him out or whatever, or something, or, like, while she's still in one of the dream sequences. And, she just stares him down and says, like, I'm not afraid of you. And, like, it kind of works, and he, like, gets weaker.
I mean, I guess if fear is his power, then it makes sense, right?
Yeah. But yeah, that kind of explains why he, like, keeps doing all these weird, like, things in the dream world. Because it's like, he has to make them afraid of him, or, like, it doesn't work. So yeah, like, good justification at least. Kind of lame when it turns into a power of love thing, though. But yeah, like, one thing that's, like, really crazy and just cheesy in the second movie is the, like... So, there's, like, a gym teacher who's like, like, he's not, like, a sexual, like, assaulter per se, but it's like, clear he's, like, turned on by little boys.
Oh, no.
So, like, he gets his comeuppance.
Good.
And, like, the way it works out is, like, a dream sequence where, like, he gets chained to, like, the shower, and, like, it gets his, like, pants ripped off, and, like, a floating towel just, like, floats into the room and just, like, effing spanks him, basically. It does the dumb locker room, like, towel whip thing on his butt, and, he's just, like, freaking out, and Frey just appears and kills him, and that's it.
Amazing.
But it's like, that sequence is just so weird and, like, just hilarious on, like, just such a weird level. Just very surreal,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been my week, I guess.
Yeah, I haven't... Let's see, I beat No More Heroes 1 and 2.
Oh, nice.
Pretty good games. 2 feels like a downgrade in a lot of places. Like when you lock onto something, when you lock onto something in 2, the camera goes like really low.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's like a really low angle, and I don't know why. And it kind of makes it. I can see what I'm doing, but it doesn't look very good.
Yeah. Like, from what I've, like, seen, No More Heroes 2 has, like, better designed bosses from, like, like, an outside perspective than, like, the first one.
So, maybe it's just because I had beaten No More Heroes 1, so I had more of an idea of how things worked. But everything felt way easier in 2.
Yeah, I'm from, like, like, a effing, like, character design perspective more than, like, the actual, like, encounters or whatever.
Okay. Well, that's what I have to say about the difficulty, at least, is 2 feels easier. There's a system where if you get hit and it takes you to 0 health, you don't immediately die. You go into, like, a stagger animation, and Travis is like, everything slows down. And I think the way it's supposed to work is if you get hit in that state, you die. I went down in that way, like, so many times during boss fights. Like, I rarely actually full-on died in a boss fight because of that system. Because they would just keep missing, and I would just get back up.
Yeah, and you'd, like, recover your health through whatever means.
No, it just gives you... it just gives you like 2 or 3 more health pips to keep fighting for a little bit longer, and then it puts you in that state again. And there doesn't seem to be a limit as far as I could tell.
Weird.
It's like the final boss knocked me into that state a ton of times, and like he would knock me into that state and then he'd go away and then he'd like fire a laser at me, and because Travis like bends over in pain or whatever, the laser would miss me. It would go above my head. So
Oh,
he couldn't
no.
hit me. I understand like people complain about the final boss being really annoying, and yes it is.
Yeah.
uh I didn't die to it, not completely.
Yeah, that's one of the things I hear out. Like, effing Jasper Jr. is just an annoying scumbag and everyone hates him.
Yeah, Jasper Bat Jr. is like the worst, like character wise, and like I'm not sure, but I think he's voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, giving like a really screechy, annoying voice.
Oh, that's alright, that's kinda good.
I think it's him.
Like, the
Also,
impression I got was that, like, him being super annoying was kind of intentional.
oh, probably, yeah, it's totally Yuri Lowenthal. I wasn't hearing things. Uh, I don't know. And then like the boss wasn't even that bad as far as like being annoying goes.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things I've heard is like, oh, the boss fight itself is annoying. I don't know. I just kind of had to figure out how to fight him at first because he charges you in like a car, and what you have to do is clash with it. And it took me a few tries to get that, but I did get it. And he like fires lasers around the room, and there's like a corner that you're always safe in. I discovered.
that
So I don't
that
know.
that feels kind of unintentional, but sure, whatever works.
Oh, it's probably very unintentional. I'm just saying, like, I found that. And then like his second phase, he like injects himself with steroids, and he becomes like a super buff dude. And he fights you like that. But again, it wasn't actually all that hard. That is the phase. He has like an unblockable move because it's a grab, and he like pile drives you. Uh, that's the phase where I almost died the most, but he never actually managed to kill me.
Hmm.
And then his final phase, he turns into a giant parade float for some reason.
Why?
I don't know. That phase was also really easy. I was worried I was gonna die, but I found out that he isn't able to hit you very easily. Uh,
Yeah,
and
because
you can hit him from pretty out far, like because he's a giant parade float attacking you from the side of a building. Like his hitbox is bigger than it's supposed to be. So I just whipped out my dual swords and slashed the crap out of him until he died. It wasn't actually that bad.
yeah, like I'd imagine turning into a giant parade float would make you weaker, wouldn't it? Because
Yeah,
like,
he was super easy.
alright, so I guess it did make him weaker.
Yeah, it was probably the easiest phase because like he would go to attack me with his big attacks, but because he's so big and I was hugging like right next to him, like he just couldn't hit me.
Yeah, and you take what you're gonna get, right?
Yeah. Uh, and then I bought and started playing Travis Strikes Again, which is the well, it's not the third game because No More Heroes 3 is actually
Yeah,
happening.
it's the spin-off, right?
Yeah. So that's okay, I guess. It doesn't play like the previous ones. It's very like, of course, it's very arcadey because it's like it
Yeah.
takes place inside a video game.
Oh, that's like when something like that happens, like I'd want to like be a thing where like they like apply the normal mechanics like and mesh them with the game mechanics, right?
Yeah. Well, so I only played level 1. But I believe that as you go through the game, the what's it called? The genre of the levels is different. Like it's different games.
Yeah.
It's like the first game is almost like a top-down, like hack and slash, uh, like fighting thing. Uh,
Huh.
See, it was okay.
Yeah.
The gameplay was the most like No More Heroes as far as probably. Uh, and then that's it. I haven't played anything else. The boss fight was pretty cool.
Was the boss?
I forgot what he's called. He's got a weird name. He's the hero of the video game you're playing, and you have to fight him.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, and Travis is like, wait, you're like my actual like hero. Like you're so cool. I gotta fight you though.
It's like, I don't want to do it though, man. He's too cool.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of cool because he's like, well, we have to fight because that's the situation we're in, and it's like, I don't know. It's a pretty cool moment. Travis has like nothing but respect for him because of course he does.
Yeah.